This is my first video on this YouTube channel. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and then comment something down below, whatever case you think we should do next. On this channel, we're going to be mainly focused on unsolved mysteries, murder mysteries, and true crime cases that have been solved. If you have any recommendations, go ahead and throw them in the comments for me. Other than that, let's get into today's episode. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a pretty familiar case. Most people know about it. If you don't, I'll give you a quick backstory on it. It's about this woman. Her name was Tamla Horsford. Lived out in Georgia. Tamla was invited to a adult slumber party by her friend Jean Myers. Her friend Jean Myers was supposed to invite some other women, which she did. About 7 or 8 other females were at this party. It was originally supposed to be an all-girls party, but Jean's boyfriend at the time, Jose Barrera, was ill, so him and his friend Tom Smith ended up staying downstairs in the basement while all the girls were upstairs during the adult slumber party. So, a little backstory. Tamla Ayana Horsford, born in 1978 in the Caribbean. She was a happy young girl, moved to the Bronx at 11 years old, spent all her life there, eventually moved to Florida after meeting her husband, Leander, whom had a child from a previous relationship. But Tamla didn't care. She was a really nice person. She cared for that kid like it was her own. They did all the stuff that a mom and daughter usually, would do on a daily basis. Leander and Tamla ended up starting their own family, had 5 boys. Everybody said that, she was a loving mother and cared about everybody in the community. In 2018, her and her husband, Lee, were living in Forsyth County in Cummings, Georgia. And she was expected to be a grandmother in October of 2018. Very excited about it. She was telling everybody in the world how happy she was going to be. Tamla was a very loving, caring person in her community. She was very involved with her kids, especially with football, which is how she would end up meeting Jean Myers, who was the one that eventually ended up inviting Tamla to this adult slumber party with a few other females from that football community. Now, like I said, Tamla would eventually go to this slumber party hosted by Jean Myers and her couple other friends that were included. Jean Myers, she was more or less the one that invited everybody, and Stacy, one of her friends, were the ones that set up everything, the activities for all the girls to do that night. So the day in question was November 3rd. That day, Jean Myers, the host of the adult slumber party, she was out most of the day. She was running around trying to get everything done before everybody came over for the sleepover. She got home around 7:30, went upstairs, got a shower, and by the time she got out of the shower, she went downstairs and, pretty much all the guests had arrived besides Tamla. So Tamla ended up texting her, informing her, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late, I'm running a little bit behind than everybody else, but I'll be there. So that night, Tamla did the normal thing. She made dinner for her kids, made dinner for her husband, who was a little unhappy because he had to cancel his plans for that night to watch the kids, but he didn't mind because he knew how much this would mean to his wife, Tamla. So he, sucked it up and she kissed him goodbye. And she had left and got into the car and drove over to John Myers' house and arrived there around 8:30. Walks in the door. She's all giggly. She's like, "Oh, I'm ready to change into my sleepwear." Pretty much as soon as she gets there, ready to change into her onesie that she had. So the night goes on. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's drinking and having fun, and everybody's chit chatting. The two guys are downstairs watching the LSU Alabama game, which was all right with all the rest of the people in the house. Now, Horsford was a heavy smoker. She smoked regularly, even at the party. She would regularly go out into the balcony and smoke a cigarette. Uh, she was also smoking marijuana that night, but John Myers had asked her to stop, which she did. She complied with. Now, later on, Myers would eventually tell police that when they got back inside and they had a conversation, she accordingly was teasing Miss Horsford that she's the female version of Bob Marley, and reminded her that Myers' boyfriend Barrera was a pretrial officer and he did not approve of her smoking marijuana. Now, later on through the night, the two gentlemen would come up from the basement, Jose Barrera and Tom Smith, and everybody would get together and they would play Cards Against Humanity, and they would be taking pictures and videos and showing how happy and smiling everyone was, drinking and, just having a good old time. Now, the witnesses at the party, they all say that Horsford didn't appear to be like really drunk that evening. Um, and then people that weren't spending the night, they ended up leaving around 11:30, while those who were staying that night ended up going off to bed, um, one by one over the next couple hours. Now, Myers and Barrera would end up inevitably heading to bed around 1:30 in the morning. And the last person to see Miss Horsford was Bridget Fuller, who was picked up by her husband at 1:47 in the morning. In her statement, she says that Horsford was eating a bowl of gumbo and she had planned on to smoke a cigarette, then head off to bed. Now, over the next 10 minutes, the home security system that they had in their home had registered that the back door opened and then closed and then opened again for the last time at 1:57 a.m. Now, remind you, the witness statements, everybody else says that the last person to see Miss Horsford was the other attendee, Bridget Fuller, at 1:47 a.m. Now we fast forward to about 8:45 the next morning. Madeline Lombardi, who is Myers' aunt, who lives at the house, she headed to the kitchen to make her morning cup of coffee, and she described seeing something chilling through the window in the backyard. But what she saw was the white dog print onesie that Horsford had been wearing that night for the sleepover. Now, Lombardi, from what I understand, she did not attempt to contact the police, which I can understand. Um, but it said that after she noticed that it was Miss Horsford, she said a prayer and then headed upstairs to find Myers and telling her that there was appeared to be something wrong with her quote unquote friend from the island. Now, just a little bit before 9 a.m., Forsyth County, they get a call, their 911 gets a call, and on the line is both Myers and Barrera. They both speak. Barrera says, "She's not moving one bit, she's not breathing, she's completely face down in the yard, she is stiff. She was drinking, it looks like, I'm guessing, maybe she fell off the balcony," is what Myers had to say after that. A short time later, the police would show up. They would end up calling off the paramedics while they were there. They would pronounce her dead at the scene. Her body was sent for an autopsy, but before the report came back, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office began to work on a theory that Horsford's death had been an accident. A fall from the second story outdoor deck. So they are indicating that she was intoxicated and ended up falling face first off of the second story deck to her death, which did not line up with what the second medical examiner had to say. Now, the case would remain open for months before the federal medical examiner comes back with a determination on February 20th of 2019. 2 weeks after the Georgia medical examiner provided the final report, they pointed to her toxicology report, which tested positive for THC and clocked her blood alcohol content at a 2.38, just shy of 3 times the legal limit to drive. Now, when you're this drunk and you're smoking weed, smoking marijuana, and you're crossfaded, you'll do stupid things. I don't know if you would be so impaired to know or not know that you were going to fall off a balcony. Even though they say that the railing was only about 4 foot high, even if she were to lean, if she's, say she's 5'6", average height for a female, I'm not exactly sure her height, but if she were to just lean, I don't think she would even have enough top heaviness to throw her over the side of a 4 foot balcony. Now, investigators were quick to just rule this an accidental death. So at 1:57 a.m., they think that Horsford went outside for a cigarette and accidentally ended up falling to her death. They ended up closing the case. The department released the incident report and the death investigation to the public. These documents didn't prove it, like anything. Like they really couldn't do anything. Horsford's family ended up just being almost dumbfounded at the lack of evidence there was to close the case. Some of the reports from the autopsy was that she had a dislocated wrist, a broken neck, and a laceration to her heart muscle. And a lot of people are disputing whether or not 15 to 20 foot fall could cause those type of injuries. I don't think so. I'm not a physicist by any means, but that doesn't seem plausible to me. I don't know. To me, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of gaps in the story. I think that, is it a possibility that this could be an accidental death? Absolutely. But for there to be that many people there, nobody hear anything. I'm sure if somebody fell off of my roof right now, I'd be able to hear them. It could be a cover up. It could be a legitimate case. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. And also let me know what story you want me to cover next. And if you think I should do these longer or shorter, also let me know if you guys want me to do a face cam, what kind of artwork you want to see. Leave all that down in the description down below. It's been your boy Bloody Glove. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.